And I know reading from some of your posts and even some of your interviews on YouTube, you talked about the traumatic childhood you had, you having to go across continent, having to shift from a nuclear family to a single parent family, back to a single parent family in a new country as well, having to relearn the language. So can you tell me then, when you went through your therapy, I'm assuming in your 40s and 50s, what did you learn about the young Taf, age 8, age 9, struggling to come to terms with his parental, not alienation, but because this is, let's not forget, the days before WhatsApp video calls and FaceTime. So when you were away.
Yes,
yeah. That's so right. What did you learn about yourself during therapy, during your own introspective sessions?
That's a brilliant question. So let me set the scene. So the first thing I remember about Pakistan, so my backstory is my parents get divorced. Myself, I'm 8. My younger siblings, 2 sisters, were 7 and 5 respectively. Mm-hmm. And what we're asked to do is we're asked to go to Pakistan. Well, I say sent. We were sent to Pakistan with a local villager. And my first memory of Pakistan is, like when you have something in the oven and you open the door and you get this really... it just hits you. I just remember that vividly. Yeah.
You must have gone in the summer holidays then. That was put in the July time. Yeah, I've been a few times, and that's why I developed some kind of animosity towards it, because we always used to get sent in July. Like it was our summer holiday break. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I remember the journey on this minibus for about 4 hours, and we went to a very remote village, which was like there were about 3 or 4 houses for miles. So you think of that in context of you go from the city of Leeds, right, full of people, family, your environment, your home environment, and you end up in a remote place. But the added, I think, challenge was this, that where we went, we didn't know we were going. Number 2, where we went, we didn't even see the people before we even met them. So when I've delivered this as a session to social workers and carers, I said, look, I was referred with I was in a foster home without the referral process. And so there were no checks and no balances, and we end up in this home, and we just, for the next 2 years, I'm trying to work out, who I am, what I'm doing here, and where are my parents. Now, unbeknown to me, Asif, is that for 40 years, so I'm in my 50s now, but for 40 years, I had no idea how that impacted me in a way that in a child was still holding some of that trauma, even though he was an adult. Yeah. And the work that I did with a coach for 8 months was solid work. And I remember being asked to journal, to reflect, to look at what I was feeling, why I was feeling it. And I remember sometimes on the video call, sometimes, tearing up. When I used to journal, it was heavy. Yeah. Sometimes I was asked to kind of leave it if I wasn't, strong enough emotionally. But what it taught me was this: in the end, my inner child was a neglected child. Mm-hmm. And so how that showed up in my life was that in my marriage, anytime I was told something wasn't right, and it wasn't right, it could have been something trivial, I felt as though I was going to be neglected again. And I have no idea that my body's holding those emotions, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm feeling this tension inside of me, and I get scared, and then what I do is I shut down completely.
Yeah. Your body goes into flight and fright, flight and fight and flight mode. But also we've got a third one, haven't we? There's 4: flight, fight, freeze, and fawn. And you might have heard of the fawn response we have later on in life.